Okay. We're live, guys.
Yes.
What you say now? So how did it go today?
Pretty well.
Things went okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me bring up the schedule just to review what you were working on. So, Matt, why? Because we're filled up now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Michelle is really going to do some hangout.
Is Michelle there?
There,
Yep.
okay. So we are missing just Matt. He can't do it.
So the schedule for today was Magic 8 Ball.
Yep.
Map.
I'm just checking if they did it.
Maya Willis, line 1, Maya, line 1.
Sorry.
So that went okay. Both of those tutorials went okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Did you have any problems?
I did some enhancements, so I had to do like some error trapping.
So for example, what do you mean?
Because like when you shake the tablet, because the thing is you can press the the button at the same time. So I have once the device is shaken, I had to disable the button. And then another thing is while you're talking, for the speech recognizer, you can also shake the device. So while I'm talking, I also had to disable the accelerometer.
Yeah, I seem to remember there was some overlap in terms of the accelerometer and some of the other components there.
Yeah, so like I had to do those error trapping then. So like if the accelerometer is shaking, then I had to disable all the other buttons, and if I'm using the speech recognizer, I had to disable the accelerometer and the buttons as well.
Yeah.
But it was fine because I just made sure that if one thing is enabled, the other ones are disabled.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are nice enhancements. I think I remember when I did it, there was an overlap between the speech recognizer. I mean, the speech text-to-speech was overlapping with something on the app. Did anyone notice that?
Yeah. I think there's another thing that I noticed too, because initially I did not use the sound component because I was thinking that if I use the player component, it's much easier to play the text-to-speech because I can just call the when player 1 completed. I can just call the text-to-speech. But the problem there is if I have player 1, there's some bug with the speech recognizer. They like overlap.
Speech recognizer or text-to-speech?
No, speech recognizer and player 1. For some reason, there's like a connection between the two of them, which I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really know what you mean.
That's because initially, instead of using a sound component, I put the sound to a player because I was thinking it would be easier to call the text-to-speech because all I had to do then is right when the player 1 completes. I mean, once it stops playing, it would play the text-to-speech right away without having to use a clock component.
Okay. So does everyone, maybe what we should do is just go around the table quickly and each one of you can sort of tell us what kind of experience you had today and if you had any challenges and how you overcame them quickly, and then if you have questions, we can talk about that. Otherwise, we can call it a day. So let's see. Al, why don't we go, on my screen it's Alan on the left. Does everyone have Alan on the left and then Shannon?
Yes.
Okay, so Alan, why don't you go ahead? You've already started sort of, so you had some
Yeah.
Overlapping in the components. Yeah.
No, but I mean, like I said, I was able to do those because all I did is like once I do the shaking, then I disable the button and I disable no, because what I did another thing because I played around with it. So what I did is I also put a second opinion. So once the magic 8 ball gives a prediction and then something a horizontal arrangement will be visible which will ask you if you want a second opinion or not. If you press yes, then it will I use another text to speech to call another like another text to speech that will say if he agrees or not.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it sounds like you made lots of enhancements.
Yeah, that's why I had to like I said make sure like um error trap everything because the problem with some of them is they overlap in terms of timing. So I had to do all that disabling enabling in the process.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the tutorial and I notice this issue of the sound and the text-to-speech occurring, and it uses a clock timer. So that's
Yeah.
one way to do it, and yeah, like you're describing, there are other ways to do it as well.
Yeah, but I stuck with the player, I mean with the sound component because when I use player, there's some issue with it with the speech recognizer.
Yeah. Another way to deal with that is just remove the sound component. Is it doing anything important?
The sound?
Yeah.
Well, it gives that effect, but so when I use the clock component, it fixed everything. It's fine.
Okay.
I was just hoping to do an easy workaround with the player component.
All right. What about the map tour?
Um, the map tour I just really followed the way you did it because I don't really understand it that much yet.
Okay.
Like those activity starters is like I'm not sure exactly what like how'd you get those parameters.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if I were to call another app other than Google Maps, I wouldn't know where to look at.
Yeah. We'd have to research that online.
Okay.
So the map tour introduces, without dwelling on it, the idea of an API,
Yeah.
application programming interface. So this is kind of a view of the internet and of the web, World Wide Web, that programmers have that users don't have, right?
Okay.
So as you get more experience as programmers, you can start learning about some of these and taking advantage of them, because as you see, it gives you much more control over things than you would otherwise get.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Because
But, yeah.
another thing you mentioned there is like we could like call our own app within another app. So that would be good to like integrate one app with another app.
Yeah. And these activity starters, are ways for advanced, say, App Inventor or mobile apps programmers to hook an App Inventor app up to other functions that they write in Android.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can't easily do things in App Inventor. You can write an app, do them in Android, and then start that app up kind of as a helper.
Yeah. Okay. That's all for me. Other than that, really, it went. I thought it was pretty like the enhancement I've made are pretty nice.
Okay. How about you, Chandon?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I think everything pretty much went well. I did have a few questions, though.
Okay.
On the map tour, I noticed that when I misspelled one of the magic phrases, I didn't really get any errors. Once again, I'm guessing these are data bytes, and that just simply didn't work. And so,
When you say you misspelled one of the phrases, can you give us an example?
so I think I misspelled the word Android. I had an extra O in there or something like that in one of the was the URI or one of those magic fields that had to be filled out during the design. And
This would be an example of a semantic error, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're using an online API. Those URIs, those uniform resource locators, are you know, probably even case sensitive. But if you spell it wrong, it's going to go to the wrong website, and things just aren't going to work.
But I guess like a general comment here is with a lot of these students learning for the first time, there's going to be no error really to guide them as to how to fix the thing. It's
Gary
going to
Wentworth,
be,
line 1. Gary, line 1.
Yeah, I mean, for things like that, right, they're just going to have to learn. Well, actually, maybe that's not such a bad lesson, though, that things just or sometimes need to be done very precisely.
yeah.
When you're giving an internet address for something, or a website address, right?
Right. Two other questions I had. I noticed, and this is not so much about today's projects, but in general, when I play a sound from inside the app, it looks like there's a pretty significant delay for when the sound starts up. Is that right?
I'm not sure. Are others experiencing that?
No, I haven't dealt with that at all, actually.
I've noticed that if you use the media player versus the sound component, sound is much quicker and has less overhead, but media has a little bit of delay.
Okay,
I
so
missed the question. What was the question again?
well, I was. This is really more on tomorrow's project. I was working on this MASH thing, and every time I pressed the button, there would be a good second and a half delay before the Android sound played in the background.
You didn't program in a delay like we did for the
No,
Magic 8 Ball, did you?
no.
Just a delay isn't probably a result of the device or the...
I don't think so. I'll go back and look at it again, but it might be what might have to do with what kind of way I play the sound. Like I said,
You know, it could actually, if you're playing a sound file, there is some overhead there. Could even be some latency in the file itself. Does it? You play it with another media player. Does it start up right away? You know what I mean?
Okay.
It could be a gap right at the beginning of it, depending on the sound itself. So there's all kinds of things that could cause that. By the way, did you all like learning about the delay thing there and how that works? That's a sort of advanced concept, I think.
Yeah, it was very useful.
Gary Wennerberg, line
Sorry.
1. Gary Wennerberg, line 1.
Okay. Anything else, Chandon?
One last item. I noticed that there's really no concept of an array in this application. The list is the closest you're going to get, I guess.
Well, a list, there are many languages that don't have arrays, including Scheme and Lisp. Lisp, which is L-I-S-P, when I first heard it as a beginning computer science student, I thought it was some kind of inside joke. Lisp, a programming language that's named Lisp. But it actually stands for list processing. And the only data structure you have in Lisp are lists. But lists are implemented in such a way that you can treat them like arrays. You can directly access the ith element in a list. Right?
Right.
So you can, I mean, there's a direct, I think, in App Inventor relationship between a list, App Inventor list, and an array because you can select the ith element from the list.
I suspect I just don't know enough about App Inventor to translate from one to the other, but in an application I'm working on, I have this grid of buttons, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, when one of the buttons gets pressed, how does it tell some procedure what its location is or which button it is?
So if you look at the Magic 8 Ball problem, right? You put a bunch of strings in that list. One of the blocks you have in the list drawer is select an item by giving its index number from the list. That's exactly what you do when you say take an array and you write a subscript notation. So you could view that as just a difference in notation, really.
Okay.
Right? The functionality is the same. You get the ith item. What you might find a little strange is that if you program in other languages, lists are indexed in App Inventor starting at 1. In most other languages, they're indexed starting at 0.
Yeah, I saw Michelle's question earlier today.
Yeah. So, but that's just that. I mean, the way they implemented it. We're not going to change that.
That's all I had.
Okay. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, everything's fine over here. Did all the apps, no problem. Experimented a little bit. I would say the only difficulty I had was when I customized my app, I made it so that it would have it was supposed to be themed off of a man, but the voice was still female. So I was playing around with the pitch and the speed, and that didn't seem to work out too well. So I have a little more experimentation to do there, but no big problems. I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, well, let us know how you make out on that. Maybe we can have an update when we get back together next week.
You got it.
Dana, is that you on the beach?
I'm here. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I didn't really have any problems doing the apps. Just the last extension activity on the Magic 8 Ball, I couldn't figure out how to get it to only provide a result once it had us using the speech recognizer component. I would always get like an error message.
Can you just remind us what that was? I mean, I could look it up, but if you.
Yeah, the last challenge I think was to have the app only give a result if you actually asked it a question, so it prevents you from just shaking it over and over again to get a result. So I tried adding a variable that would be set to true once you actually pressed a button, which initiated the speech recognizer. But I just couldn't get it to work. So I'm interested if anybody else was able to do that.
I was, but I could have just hid the response until I cleared it by saying I'm done speaking, and then it shows it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell, but I didn't get any error messages. When I shook it, the Google GUI popped up to say, speak to me while speaking. And then I hit the button, and then it just went to my answer. So I didn't get an error message, but I'm thinking that it was just a simulation. It was an abstraction of reality.
Did anybody get it to work the way you wanted? Meaning, so I assume here's what you want. You shake the device without asking a question, nothing happens, right?
Yep.
If you ask a question, you speak, and then you shake it, then you get a response. That's a desired behavior.
Yeah.
Was anybody able to solve that?
Yeah. The way I did it is that I had a button where like you will ask the question first. So initially when the app initializes, I set a string variable that is empty, so that once I ask the question after the speech recognizer, the text will be set to that empty string, so that if it's still empty, so I use an if then else. So if it's empty, it will tell me like ask a question first. If it's not empty, because it got some speech, then it will run the prediction.
So you put that if then else in your accelerometer event handler, yeah?
Yes, accelerometer, yes.
Right. So you need to stop the accelerometer event handler from
shaking again.
No, not from shaking, but from actually pulling something out of the list and saying it, right?
Can you repeat that?
You want to stop the accelerometer event handler from speaking its prediction if the user hasn't already asked a question.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you're using this if statement with this variable that you created.
If it's empty, if that variable is empty.
Yeah, when shaken, or what is the event? When accelerometer shaking?
Shaking, yeah.
Yeah. So inside there you put the if this string is empty, then don't make a prediction.
Yeah.
Make a prediction. Is that
That's what I did.
Makes sense, Dana?
And then right after.
Go ahead.
Right after every prediction, I cleared that component again so that you can just like keep on shaking again. I reset it to empty.
Yeah, I did the exact. Go ahead.
You cleared the variable.
Yes.
Yeah. You did the exact same thing?
Well, I did the exact same thing, but instead of using an empty list, I set a variable to false when screen 1 was initialized. Then I set it to true once or after speaking or whatever that event is. It would be set to true. And then I did the same thing with an if-else statement in the accelerometer, except if spoken variable is true, then go ahead and make the prediction. If not, then a message would pop up saying ask a question. And I don't know exactly what I did.
Then if it's true, and then you spoke a prediction, did you then set it back to false?
Yes.
Okay. Well, probably something minor then. Sounds like your logic is correct. I mean,
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too. And
so maybe if you want to put up your code, we could actually have a look at it.
I went back and didn't do it, but maybe.
I'll share my screen, Dana, and maybe you can take a look at it, see if it looks like yours.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let me switch to screen share here, and I'm going to do my App Inventor screen. So take a peek at it. Speak recognizer is at the top, followed by the clock, and then the accelerometer.
I'm not seeing the screen yet. Is anybody?
No.
Nobody's seeing it?
No.
It's saying I'm sharing.
This here?
Let me try the whole thing then. I just canceled it. I'll try it one more time. I'll do the entire screen. Nothing?
No,
that's it.
Okay. So over obviously here, I'll maximize it so you can. You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except when we talk.
Let's see. So my clock was enabled once the speaker recognizer received text, and then once that happened, the clock was obviously enabled. And so these two are bouncing back and forth. Does that look like yours, Dana?
Yeah, similar. I didn't enable the clock timer, but that looks like it would work, right? Yeah.
It didn't error out. I watched the supplemental 1-minute primers. There's 2 of them, if I remember. I did it last night.
And so does this prevent it from popping up with an answer if you haven't already asked a question?
It doesn't allow me to tell that because the box, the GUI box that Google has for the speech recognizer pops up over where my answer would be. Yeah. So I have no way of detecting if it's pulled an answer out, which I guess on a user level it doesn't necessarily matter. I have the sound playing after it received the text, so the sound won't play until you say I'm done talking, which then indicates that the prediction is pulled up. So it might be an emulated prediction. It may already be premeditated, but the user wouldn't know.
Yeah, so it looks to me like this will still shake the, if I just start the app and then shake it without asking the question, it will still give me an answer. Is that right?
No, when you shake it, the speech-to-text box comes up immediately and doesn't speak your answer until you confirm you're done talking, and then it gives you the answer.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it does give it picks an answer, then it calls speech recognizer.
Yep.
Starts the timer, and then it does play a sound, and then it doesn't speak the message until the timer clicks.
Until I say I'm done speaking, and I push the red icon.
Yeah, gotcha. Yep, I think it works. It should work.
But behind the scenes, it picks the item out of the list first before it tells the user.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'll stop capturing. But no, I had no issues whatsoever, and same thing with the map app. I didn't have any issues. So.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, Dana?
Nope. Everything else went pretty well.
Great. Larry, how'd your day go? Larry, can you hear us?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, went through them. They went fine. I too did not get the speech recognizer to work, although I didn't get a chance to play with it as much as I wanted to. So I'll go back to that. But the Magic 8 Ball went very well.
So yeah, do you all get the sense that the speech recognizer is using a web service? actually recognize the speech? How does it work?
I didn't think it worked at all. I thought it just triggered a simulation, which then picked from a list of, I could have asked it a
No,
simple question.
But it does.
it worked because what I did to make sure that the speech recognizer is working. One time I set a same certain label to whatever the result of the speech recognizer is to make sure that it really does work. It does.
Yeah, that is an incredibly hard thing to do, recognize speech.
Oh, yeah,
Huh?
I agree.
Yeah.
So you think your phone is
But most of the time, it does what it's supposed to do. Like I said, I set a label to like when I get the result, and it most of the time gets what I said.
that it translates what you said into text.
But I could ask my app,
Yeah.
what was Henry IV's last dinner, and it would come up with no way, it's certain, it's likely,
Oh no, it doesn't try to answer your question.
No.
If you say, what was the question? What's Henry VIII's last name?
Last dinner, yeah.
It would just repeat, what's Henry VIII's last name? It's not trying to.
Yeah.
It's not trying to answer that question. It's just trying to translate the sound into
text.
I believe it just detected audio, but yeah, I guess it would convert that to text.
That's an incredibly hard problem. That was part of one of the challenges of artificial intelligence, actually, to get computers to be able to recognize speech. If you think about it, if you ever tried that solutions to that problem, say 10 years ago, here's how you'd have to speak, say 5 years ago. Who is Henry the Eighth? And it might get some of that. Okay, you'd have to actually break the speech into discrete words.
Right.
Okay, but now you can actually give it continuous speech, and it can find the word boundaries and actually convert it into text. That's a pretty hard problem. So that is using a service on the web. Every time you speak into it, it goes out, sends your voice file out, and then sends back. That service sends back a piece of text. I don't know if you realize that or not.
Thinking about now, there's still one more that I'm not sure if it's available in App Inventor. I wanted to run the speech recognizer in listen mode so that it won't pop out like that.
What?
The speech recognizer, when you run it, it will pop out and say, "Speak to me." I was wondering if there's a way that I could run it in listen mode so that it won't show up like that, and we'll just get the speech without that pop out to showing up.
I don't know. Anyway, well, good, Larry. So you had no big problems. Yeah, it might be fun to just put a label in there, just to see the speech recognizer how well it's doing, to display what you said. Or repeat what you said as part of the prediction, right? Instead of just saying what you pull out of the list, say, so you asked blah, my answer is blah. And how would you do that if you wanted to put those two things together? Anybody know? What kind of block you'd use?
You'd have to concatenate strings, right?
You'd concatenate those two. You'd be concatenate like 4 strings there. You asked.
You'll need a join block.
You'd use a join block. You asked, and then the second piece would be what the speech recognizer gave you back. My answer is, and then whatever you pulled out of the list. So you'd have a join with 4 parts to it. You could actually see how well the speech recognizer does. That might be a nice part of the lesson, actually, instead of just ignoring the speech recognizer. Really. Very good. Anyway, Matt, how about you?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Everything went well. It was a good day. So, I mean, no real issues, but I could see, some good uses for some of the aspects, maybe in the creative projects or some other apps in further development.
Whoops. Oh no. I hope I didn't quit the thing.
So
What do I?
up top, it's selected as you're
Oh,
currently
okay.
answering,
All
so you
right.
hit done.
All right. Scott is. Can you folks see that Scott has asked a question?
You can hit select and say this is the question you're answering.
What do you
And you
do?
just
How do
talk.
you do?
Now you just talk about it. You answer like if the.
Oh, can they
you
see the
this?
question?
Yes, we're acknowledging it. Once you answer the question, you hit done.
Hi, Scott. I can see you now. All right. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Pauline's
That's
trying to
it.
teach me how to use it. Matt, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. How about Michelle?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've done the exercises, but I'm having trouble with my device, and I'm on the right Wi-Fi network. It did ask me to download an update, and I haven't completed the update yet, and I wasn't able to get the USB to work, but I'm working on it.
Oh, USB. I wouldn't want to go there unless you
Yeah.
got some experience with drivers.
Yeah, and it didn't work anyway, so the device downloaded an update, and so I'm going to do that update and see if it'll, because I'm on the same Wi-Fi network. I don't see why.
Where are you doing this? From home?
Yeah, right.
Well, is it just who set up your Wi-Fi? Did you set it up yourself? Is it just a sort of off-the-shelf router?
No, it's not. We have an Ethernet network, and then we have we ha- an Apple.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Not all Wi-Fi networks work.
Okay, we have an Apple.
Some Wi-Fi networks have
Right.
rules built into them or
Right.
set up in them that block peer-to-peer communication.
Right. Yeah.
And if yours does that, then even though you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you won't be able to connect to the AI companion.
Right. Now I was wondering if that was what was happening.
Are you using a airport base station for your router? It's an Apple product?
Yes.
Because I know because I have one myself, most of the Apple routers will send out two Wi-Fi networks with the same SSID. One's 2.4 gigahertz and the other one's 5. And if you have two different devices on both frequencies, they won't talk to each other.
Okay.
You may want to check to see which one is on the 5 and which one's on the 2.4.
There shouldn't be any problem in general with Apple because I've done this at my friend's house who has one of those. So that should generally work, but maybe what Tony's suggesting is
right.
the problem. So check that. But the workaround, if you're having that problem, don't let it stop you. Just build the app every so often and load it onto your device that way.
Right, right. Yeah, I couldn't get the USB to work either, so I'm not sure.
Do you have a Windows machine?
Yes.
The USB requires that your Windows machine have the right driver.
Yeah, and this is a school laptop, and
I wouldn't want to spend too much time on it. The reason we've gone to App Inventor Companion over Wi-Fi is because it was such a pain always getting Windows machines to talk to random devices.
Okay.
So don't spend too much time on that. Just build it. Build the app and package it and put it on your device and test it that way.
Okay.
We were down in Philly yesterday doing a workshop with a room of 30 teachers, and the Wi-Fi didn't work. So that's what we did. We used that backup plan.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Any questions on the apps themselves, the lessons?
No.
Okay, great. How about you, Phil?
See how
Oh, we can't hear you. We see you speaking into a mic.
I heard some muttering. Kind of.
Well, maybe maybe you just need to turn up the mic's volume. We can hear you very faintly, I think. Yeah. It's still very, very faint.
Shoot.
There we go.
Then is it now?
Now it's very loud.
Alright. I the same issues most people had was with the trying to do the shaking and the shaking and speech recognition at the same time. But other than that, I had really no problems. It was pretty simple as far as getting it to.
Great. So were you able to solve that last challenge?
No, not at all. I tried making it shake, and it would call the speech recognition, and it would say what you had said, but it ended up saying what it was, the response that it was saying all over again, because it was calling the text-to-speech while it was doing the speech recognition, so it basically talked to itself, and then write the same thing over again.
Okay. Would you folks want me to post a solution to that?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Sure.
I can do that.
Yeah, it would be worth archiving and keeping for next year as well.
Yeah, maybe we can put one up on the teacher branch.
The teacher side, yeah.
Yeah.
Solution to challenge.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that when we're done here.
That sounds good.
I'll try to do that.
Well, I'm saving all my screen captures because I want
If you bear in mind, too, that there's more than one way to do it, I'll show you one way to do it.
Good.
Okay.
All right, Tony, I think you...
I kind of
Gary
already
Wennerberg,
explained it a
line
little
2.
bit, but
Gary
I'll go...
Wennerberg, line 2.
I'm sorry for the interruption. The laptop's right by the phone on my desk. But I know I already explained a little bit when I was talking with Dana about the solution. I didn't run into any problems on either app. I definitely used the 1-minute supplemental videos to help explain the other challenges. No real hang-ups whatsoever.
Okay.
One of the issues, I guess, if I were to grasp at straws to mention an issue, when I was doing the Magic 8-Ball challenge where you're using the speech-to-text recognizer, I had to shuffle around when the actual sound would play so that it made sense to the user and it cued when things were happening.
Yep.
I just kind of moved around the call block to where it logically made sense when I used it. So I know as an instructor next year, I'll definitely have to bring that up to the class to have the students, say, well, in theory, when you're building the app, it may make sense, but you won't really get the full feel and picture until you're actually using the app.
Yeah.
And you may find that your logic is not quite, where it should have been.
Right, and this is true of most apps that you really have to test them thoroughly.
Yeah.
Before you conclude that they work.
Yep, and then more than once, too.
This is a standard pitfall in teaching computing. Students, especially in courses like Python or Java, where they struggle for hours with the syntax, and then they finally get something running and they declare victory.
Right.
Usually very prematurely because it doesn't really work. It runs something, but it isn't correct.
Yeah, they're so excited to get out,
Yeah.
And
By the way, Scott has made a comment. I don't know if you guys are seeing this. He said, I made the speech recognizer repeat my question first, then choose an answer. That's great, Scott. And was it, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, was it giving you fairly good recognition of the speech? Was it pretty accurate?
The types doesn't come in as a question, but that's okay.
Yeah. Scott's going to type, and the reason he's not on here is because he couldn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have two chats going on?
No, he's are they seeing his questions too?
I can't see Scott's.
You have to click the, see the
Q&A.
Q&A button on the left of your Hangout? If you click that, you can see Scott's questions, which are not there now because I've answered them.
Yeah, I had those open. I still didn't see them on the list.
No.
As you're viewing.
Okay. Okay.
Oh wait, nope, there it is. Scott Kaminsky. Yep.
Yep. So Scott said yes, it was doing very well.
To hit select.
That's great. Yeah, we were talking about the fact that that's a very hard problem. That was an artificial intelligence problem, but as the AI research community solves these problems, they come to be sort of considered routine and easy. But it took many, many years to get computers to be able to recognize speech like that.
So this that's being sent in, can you put that in the chat for them to see?
Put what?
That link. That link is the live one. So anybody who's not in here now, they can view the Hangout live.
Where do you want me to put it?
In the chat. They can view the Hangout live. So Scott is since he can't fit, he's watching it live using the link that Ralph just posted in the chat. And there we've enabled Q&A, so that way even though he can't join in, he can ask questions by typing them. And we can see them on our end and address the questions. So that link shows what it looks like on the live side. So if you ever can't, you don't get in because, there's 10 other people, you can still watch it live and participate.
Great. Hey, so Dana, I have one question. Is that picture that's coming up when you're not speaking a picture of you at the beach this week?
No, it's an old picture.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, any last questions or comments before we wrap it up?
Not at the moment.
No, I think we're all set.
Great. Well, this worked pretty well. So we're also online during the day. If you have questions, you can type them in the forum, and we'll try to get to them. The only time I'm not around is during the lunch when I'm out running or eating.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
See you guys tomorrow then.
Okay. Thank you all. Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
All right. Thank you.
I'll post an answer to that challenge problem on the teacher side, and I'll send you an email.
Is
Okay.
anybody in tomorrow?
I'll probably peek in for a little bit.
Don't feel you have to. So if it's more convenient to work at home, that's fine. Okay, guys.
All right.
All
Have a
right.
good day,
Bye. We'll see you
everyone.
guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. I juiced that.